Welcome to video 2 of this lesson. This is our final video for the day. In this video, we are going to learn how to write some of the katakana characters. How about we start by learning to write katakana? Our first character is ka. Just like the hiragana ka, the first stroke of the katakana character goes across and down and ends in a hook. The second stroke goes down across and ends in a tail as well. Let's try this together. Remember, as you write the character, say the pronunciation. So, our first stroke goes across, down, and comes up in a hook. And our second stroke tails down to the left. Ka. To help you remember this character and its pronunciation, think about an old pirate's cutlass. It's kind of an old broadsword. Our second character, well, let's just add the dakuten to ka and create ga. So our first stroke, just like ka, goes across, down, and ends in a hook. And then our second stroke comes down and tails off to the left. And then we add the two dakuten. Remember that both of these strokes stop. So now let's try this together. Stroke 1 goes across, down, hooks up. Stroke 2 tails down to the left. And now our two dakuten slant down to the right. And there we have ga. Our next character is going to be ta. The first stroke of ta is the one there at the top left. It slants down to the left and ends with a tail. The second stroke starts going to the right, but then sharply turns down to the left where it ends in a tail. And the third stroke is the remaining stroke there in the middle that slants down to the right. Now this is one of those characters that you need to get used to looking at different fonts. So you'll notice that this font, the third stroke doesn't actually cross the second stroke. Notice how they stop here together. Other fonts don't even have the third stroke connecting to the first stroke. See the gap here? So there are many different ways to write ta, and that will be obvious as you come into different fonts throughout the lesson. So now let's draw ta together. Our first stroke starts at the top and slants down to the left, ending in a tail. Our second stroke starts to the right and abruptly goes down to the left and ends in a tail. And our third stroke comes down to the right and stops. Ta. To remember this, you may want to think of what it might be like to throw a tomahawk. Now that we've learned ta, we might as well add the dakuten and get da. So our first stroke, of course, goes down to the left in a tail. Second stroke goes to the right, sharp turn down to the left and a tail. Third stroke stops down to the right. And then we just add our two dakuten. Shall we try this one together? Our first stroke down to the left. Our second stroke. Our third stroke. And now we add our two dakuten. 1, 2, and now we have da. And our final character for the day is na. Just like in hiragana, our first stroke is going to be the horizontal stroke. It stops. And our second stroke is the one that crosses down through the middle and ends in a tail. So now let's try this together. Stroke 1 goes across to the right. Stroke 2 goes down and ends in a tail. Na. To remember this one, you may think of tying a knot in some ropes. We now know 5 characters. You'll be asked to write these characters several times for practice. However, just writing the same character over and over is what most people call busy work. You will, of course, never be asked to do busy work in Japanese. The purpose of writing these characters so much is to help you memorize. Instead of just copying the characters, try this. Cover the left columns with paper and try writing the characters from memory. ka, ga, ta, da, and na. Now we can uncover the characters and see how well we've done. If you got them right, relax. Come back to them later. Then you can cover the completed characters and go at it again. If you didn't get them right, as in the ta right here, notice that I forgot the third stroke, correct them in pen. Then you can cover the completed characters and go at it again. Here we go. Ka, ga, ta, da, and na. Then, of course, you can uncover the characters, check to see how well you've done, and move on. Let's try our hand at some contextual clues. This image is the cover of a travel brochure to a foreign country. Looking at the brochure, can you guess which country? Look at the katakana in the upper left corner. Can you read that? If you guessed Canada, then you are correct. Well done. Here is the full katakana table again. And here are 3 of the characters that we learned today. As we continue, you will quickly learn the other characters. But wait, didn't we learn 2 more characters? Oh, that's right, they're on this other table. Ga and da are right here. We started off easy today, but don't worry, we'll get crazy with the very next lesson.